Hi there, some sports fans. It's Morgan again, coming back to talk about a few more races on our Bargain Bowl card. Bargain Bowl 12 is coming up for the Bargain Bred Racing Series. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, it's a series of races we hold throughout the year for scratch bred runners for 120 points or less. It's open to the entire sim. Come on over to our website, bargainbred.com. You can kind of check out the rules. You can go to About Us, check out the message board, kind of get familiar with the series, and get started breeding for next year's Bargain Bowl. So in this episode 2, we're going to be talking about the Silent Witness, which is our turf sprint on the Bargain Bowl. We're going to be talking about our Class Act Juvenile, which is our juvenile turf, and our Charlie's Tiger Juvenile, which is our juvenile dirt. There's 15 Bargain Bowl races scheduled for Arizona December 3rd. We're going to hit these 3 here in episode 2. The first up is going to be Class Act. Whenever I first started the series, I went on the message board, was asking around about bargain breds or cheaply bred runners that had won grade 1s or earned a lot of money, and Class Act is one that came up. He's a dual grade 1 winner early in his 3-year-old season. And so we're going to honor Class Act here by naming our turf juvenile after him. Now, the fastest Class Act juvenile was back in 2014 in New Zealand. It was won by Stratopist, who closed from out of the clouds, almost 11 lengths back, earned a 95 speed figure. Pinsjet was second there, Boyce Ranger third. As you can see, Dragneel, or the SAF stables there, swept the top 3 places, and all 3 of these runners are competing later on in the card as older runners here in 2016. The first race in our turf juvenile division is the Sanford Park, and it was won this year by a debut runner, Verisbound, making the first start of his career. He was 13-1. He upset the field, stalking and pouncing, going on to win by a length and a quarter. A. Randall was a solid second. Bandalore was third. Need another round. Started hitting his best stride late. He was really the only one closing into what turned out to be a pretty slow pace. And that was a pretty good indicator, because in the next race in this series, the Winchester at a mile, Need Another Round really blossomed. He relished the extra distance. He sat back in the pack. There were a lot more horses here, and he came flying late to win by 2 1/4 lengths. He earned an 89 speed figure, pretty solid, pretty salty for this time of year for 2-year-olds. RK's rodeo horse set the pace, earned a nice 86 speed figure there. He couldn't make that big lead he had at the top of the stretch hold up, but as these horses get older, he's likely to hold on to that lead a little more. It looks like we got a good setup for Need Another Round and RK's rodeo horse in the Class Act Juvenile. Cove Master and Current Tenor battled it out for 3rd and 4th. They were really close coming down to the wire. You'll notice that none of the runners in that sprint came back and did very well in the Winchester. So when we look at the division standings, it's Need Another Round up. Since he was 4th in the Sanford and won the Winchester, he's got the division lead with 12 points. Verisbound will not be running in the Class Act. A. Randall's not running in the Class Act. Bandalore not running in the Class Act. Cove Master not running in the Class Act. We had a lot of defections. That run by Need Another Round really kind of, I think, have a few trainers going, yeah, I'll look elsewhere to run my horse. But RK's rodeo horse is going to be there, so it's probably going to come down to these two. We got several newcomers jumping in, so you kind of never really know. But it does look like we might be looking at a good early battle here between 2 horses, and Need Another Round really has everything that you like to see in a juvenile winner, and stands a big chance, it seems like, here in the Class Act Juvenile. Now, as we move forward here, we'll go on to the Charlie's Tiger Juvenile. Now, Charlie's Tiger was actually a mare. Now, early on, whenever we ran the series, we did not have separate colt and filly races for 2-year-olds. They all ran in the same races together, so we only had 2 juvenile races, which is why Charlie's Tiger got named back then. She was a nice grade 1 winning mare. She placed in grade 2 and grade 3, a really solid mare, and so we honor her by naming our juvenile after her. And after we split it out, I still left Charlie's Tiger as the name holder for the colt race. Now, oddly enough, in the first 8 runnings of the Charlie's Tiger juvenile, 7 times fillies won this race. They absolutely dominated the boys in this race, and actually the fastest Charlie's Tiger juvenile was back in 2010, and that was done by Eagle View. He was the first and only colt to get a win in the first 8 runnings of this race, and he only won by a head. I'm telling you, these 2-year-old fillies on the dirt are tough. The colts are very happy they have their own race to go race in these days. So let's take a look here. This series gets started off with the Amity, 6 furlongs on the dirt, and Cloud Country just took him gate to wire. He didn't have much pressure up on the lead. He had a nice big lead, and he made that stand up. And Kian ran second, a solid only 2 lengths back, and they were well ahead of the other 3 runners in the field who just didn't even belong here in this particular company. So these 2 would move on, and they would battle it out in the Ginger Ale. Now, too bad for them that one of those fillies that we talk about came over and decided to take on the boys here in the Ginger Ale, and Ghost Hopper beat the boys by a length, earned an 85 speed figure. But Cloud Country was another solid pace setter, held on just a length back. Keon lost a little bit more ground to the winners here, although he was making up a little ground late. He was still 4 lengths behind the winner. And then we had Steve Urkel, who's going to go in the sprint, and Lost Green and Ticket Strike rounding out this field here. So as we kind of look at this division, it's Cloud Country and Keon. Ghost Hopper is going to go back and face the fillies. She's going to go in the Meadow Star, which we previewed in episode 1. So Cloud Country's got a nice 16-10 lead here in points over Keon. But there's going to be a lot of newcomers, or a few newcomers anyway. I don't know that this is going to be a huge field going into the Bargain Bowl. It's a little interesting. We don't have a real big standout. So this could make for a really interesting, we might get a nice upset here in the Charlie's Tiger, or Cloud Country may just continue to prove he's the best 2-year-old colt going this year. Now we'll move forward on to the Silent Witness. And, you know, we're honoring or naming this our turf sprint, Avatar Silent Witness, who is a real-life runner. He won 17 in a row. He's got a statue there in Hong Kong where he did most of his racing. Really nice turf sprinter from bargain-type pedigree. So we honor Silent Witness here by naming our turf sprint after him. The fastest Silent Witness on record was by a 3-year-old filly named Proba Thief, who stalked the pace, won at 10-1, pretty decent odds there, and earned a 100 speed figure. Now, this is the only 100 speed figure in the 11 years we've been running this particular race. Now, in those 11 years, we have had 4 fillies or mares win this race. So fillies and mares tend to hold their own in this particular race. And in fact, the 3 fastest times or 3 fastest speed figures for the Silent Witness are all held by fillies or mares. So it's kind of an interesting thing. You might think some of these turf sprinters would really get some nice high speed figures, but when it has come down to the Bargain Bowl in the Silent Witness, they don't pop huge speed figures, but these are all nice, really solid horses nonetheless. So in this turf sprint division, we get started with the Death Valley Oasis in April. Sometimes that's in late March. And Stratum Cahal won this one, sat back, closed down, won by a length and a quarter. Stratum Cahal is a grade 3 winner, folks. He has earned over $1 million. One hell of a bargain. Now, he has won this race, the Silent Witness, in 2014 and 2015. So this year, he got his season started off well with a nice 99 speed figure and a win, and he will be here for the Silent Witness here in 2016, going for 3 in a row. Only one other horse in Bargain Bowl history has ever won 3 of their races, 3 Bargain Bowl races in a row. So a very hard feat. Several have tried and just come up just a little bit short, so it'll be interesting. Nonetheless, Stratum Cahal got the win here. Zonte Regal second. Sparkles Gold, the 4-year-old filly, ran on third. This was a really, really close race. You had like the top 6 here within 3 lengths of each other. Pretty solid field. In the turf sprint division, the next race up is in July, and that's the Everglades at 7 furlongs. And the 4-year-old filly Van Varis came over and just spanked the boys. She sat just off the pace and went home strong and earned a 110 speed figure. Penn's Jet ran a really good race on the league there, earning a 107 speed figure, but he still almost got beat by 2 lengths here. Rock Total was third. Stratum Cahal could only manage fourth against here at the 7 furlong distance, maybe not one of his best distances. The next race we go for this turf sprint division is overseas as we go over to Japan for the Tokyo Sprint. Generally, this does draw a smaller field, and Penn's Jet here set the pace just like he did in the Everglades, and this time nobody caught him. He earned a solid 103 speed figure. Stratum Cahal could only manage a second here. He had 4-year-old filly Shri the Coop come in and run a solid third there with a 98, just 2 lengths back. Rock Turtle again, Zonte Regal. Two Natures was one of our top turf 3-year-olds, and he didn't fire very well here against older runners. Now, as we take a look here, I want to show you Funny Execution. Funny Execution was our top 3-year-old sprinter. Now, he did most of it on the dirt, winning the Ozark Sprint, the Gold Coyote, and the Royal Pawn. Those are all 3-year-old restricted dirt races, and he won the Ozark Sprint, the Gold Coyote, and he ran a really solid second in the Golden Pawn. But he also ran second in the Bourbon Trail, which is a turf sprint for 3-year-olds. And in fact, that race was better than both his Ozark Sprint and Gold Coyote. He tried older last time out in the Tombstone, but he is going to come over and run on the dirt here. So I think it's notable that our top 3-year-old sprinter, even though he was doing it on the dirt, he looks like he can run on the turf just fine. He's going to come over for the Silent Witness. Now, as far as this division goes, Stratum Cahal and Penn's Jet are tied on top of this division with 18 points apiece. Van Varis only has 10, but she only competed in the one. She will be in this race. Rock Turtle will be here. Zonte Regal will be here. We'll have the 3-year-old coming over being here. This turf sprint division looks really tough. We might be able to get a top speed figure this time around with all the good competition here. So this ends episode 2 here. Episode 3 will be coming up pretty quickly as we'll start to preview the next races on the card. Thanks.